I'm good, Rich, and how are you?
I am doing well. Welcome to my show. I'm excited to have you on today. And just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to pick your brain a bit.
Well, I hope I have enough brains left for you to pick, but have at it.
All right, but so Destini, you are known online. I know that's not that's your Twitter name, right? That's the Twitter name that you're using for the internet. For people that don't know who you are, Destini, tell my listeners who you are.
Destini is my host name that I use when I host Intertube, and I'm the executive producer and the host of that podcast or online radio show. Prior to that, I was involved in several different fandoms online and doing podcasts and building community.
Okay.
And we've kind of moved forward from there, and now we're concentrating strictly on the web series space.
Okay. So the Intertube is a show that actually became a website, or how is that? Because I looked at it, I thought it was just more of a website, and your show was different. I didn't know that the show is the same as the site. So just talk a little bit more about your internet destination, the actual website.
You mean Intertube.tv is our destination, and you can find the archives of our show there, as well as stuff we've done, other video interviews, and links to our YouTube channel, web series news, reviews from our point of view, some contributions from content creators, and stuff like that. Mostly a little bit of web series news and a lot of talk about our show, and there is a forum for discussion. It's not quite as active as we'd like it to be, or as active as Web Series Network is, but it's a gateway to what we're trying to do in supporting web series.
Okay, so you interview a lot of independent web series producers, and you also, for you to be able to interview there, you clearly watch a lot of web series. What's your taste in web series? What do you like?
What do I like? We watch everything, but I will say that you are correct in assuming I have a preference. I tend to gravitate more towards scripted drama, whether that be purely dramatic like a soap opera or horror or sci-fi, but that's kind of where my taste lies, which isn't to say I don't like comedy or reality or stuff like that. I do. It's just that it's a little bit harder for me to pick a favorite, so I'm a little bit harder a critic on that stuff. I really, really like scripted drama.
Scripted drama. Does it, because some of the questions that I get on Web Series Network is the length of content. In your view, does that really matter? What would you suggest to a new web series producer out there that's coming out making new content? Does the length matter? Do you see a sort of change as far as people sort of gravitating from the 2-minute webisodes and now wanting more? What is your take on
I think so.
length?
I think there's definitely a change happening right now. I think creators and even advertisers and producers are starting to realize that the audience will watch longer content, and in fact, in some cases, especially when it comes to scripted drama, crave longer content. So my advice usually is you make your show as long as you have interesting and engaging content.
Well, yeah.
As you know as well as I do, sometimes 2 minutes is too long if it's really not good.
Right. And another, as far as creating a longer form, and you and I both know that the longer the content is, the more expensive it becomes. So I think that's one of the reasons why producers are so, especially independent producers who have limited financial resources, tend to stick with the 2 to 3 minute webisodes. For the most part, I think it has more to do with just financial, resources.
I think you're right. I mean, it's certainly more expensive to produce longer content, so you have to weigh, especially for dramatic producers, and you know this as well as I do, Rich, and we're probably going to be saying that a lot, is that for drama, you want it to be a little longer than 2 minutes, because in 2 minutes, you're probably not going to get people very hooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comedy, the timing is a little bit different. I think it's a tough question for people to ask themselves when it comes to the financial part of how expensive it is to create long-form drama and yet still try to draw in an audience. It's difficult.
What's your view on release strategies? How do you feel about 2-3 minute webisodes that are released 1 week apart? What's your take? Do you think that a producer or stands a chance of losing his or her audience if you wait that long to release to push out 2-3 minute webisodes? What's your take on release strategy?
I think the release strategy has to, it really does depend on the length of the content and how you're trying to pull in that audience. I watch television once a week. I don't mind watching a web series once a week. I think if it gets longer than that, if your release schedule is less than once a week and it becomes less reliable, if it's once every 2 weeks, once a month, or God forbid you don't know when your next episode is, then yeah, you're definitely gonna lose your audience. We've seen series that have 2 episodes and then nothing else.
Yep.
That's tough.
But, since we're on that topic, I want to get your opinion on the actual, because what I'm starting to see is a lot of many producers, not all of them, just for the most part, some of them they're trying to model the television format. They're trying to copy the television format even that has changed now, because 2-3 years ago, you would get a 24-episode order from a network. Now they're cutting it down to, in some cases, a television network will give you a 4 or 5 episode order just to kind of see how the audience will respond to the material before they order a full 24-episode season. I've seen web series producers who are promoting 24 webisode seasons. That to me is it's ambitious. It's just very unrealistic that you're going to get to that point, even sustain an audience to that point. From your experience watching webisodes as long as you have, what do you think an average season should be? Like, how many webisodes do you think an average season should be?
I think it's a case-by-case basis, but if you want an average of what I think 6 to 10 is a fairly strong average. We've seen series that have 22, 24 episodes, and they're strong. And you've seen series that have, 3 episodes. I don't think 3 episodes makes a season.
It doesn't. That's
what? It just doesn't. That's just 3 episodes. But 6 episodes can make a season.
I think so. I think 6 episodes of maybe at the minimum 5-minute episodes will definitely make a season, in my opinion. At least that would.
I think so, and everybody knows this because a lot of us talk about it. Is that if you're going to do 6 episodes and they're going to be 5 minutes apiece, you've got to use your time wisely, and that means your content has to be good. It has to be. So would you okay? So as far as people making things up as they go, like just creating the episode as they go, is that something that you would advise, or would you just say shoot it all out, have it all shot and completed before you actually start releasing? What would be your suggestion? I think you can do either way. I think you can shoot it all, or you could go as you go along. I think you should certainly have your story written and storyboarded out, and you should know exactly where your series is going from the beginning of your season to the end. I don't think you should be writing an episode from week to week. But there are pluses and minuses for both. I mean, if you shoot everything in a week and you're going to release it once a week over a couple of months, but you shoot everything in a week, you can't adjust to what the fan feedback is. So if the fan feedback tells you that your story is terrible or that your pacing is bad, you can't adjust to that. If you shoot 4 episodes and you see how it goes, you can adjust in what you do next. But then again, maybe your funding falls through.
Okay, so one of the big issues that we are all facing in this young emerging industry is being able to get that audience. Not just getting an audience, get that loyal audience that's going to ride with you until the wheels fall off. That's becoming more and more difficult because producers are spreading themselves out too thin. They're not really focusing. Like I tell people who I consult with sometimes that in web series, you can't play the shotgun effect in this industry. You have to have a niche and go after that niche and find a way to sustain that niche to keep them coming back for more. What do you make of ways to gain an audience and, more important, sustain that audience?
I think, and this is an ongoing conversation that we have on the show as well, and I appreciate seeing you talk about it a lot too. Engagement with your audience is extremely important, whether your audience is 5 people or 500 people. But you do need to be niche, and you do need to identify that audience before you start and engage with them. If you know that your audience is, for example, soap opera fans, then you need to go online and find places that soap opera fans congregate and make yourself part of that community. Understand the audience to which you want to play your series, the very people that you want to watch your show. Stop talking in an echo chamber to each other about what the audience wants, and go and find your audience and find those people and ask them what they want to see, because they're the ones you expect to watch. You have to find that niche audience and make yourself a part of them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from with that. So so now you have here's the deal. People have the audience. They've gotten 200-300 fans on Facebook or what have you. Now it becomes a point where, because I always believe in, you can always multiply what you have based on, of course, you have to put in the effort. And in some cases, I watch a lot of web series. I try to at least watch and comment every webisode that's uploaded to webseriesnetwork.com. Now, one thing that I find a little bit troublesome is someone would post a video, a webisode, and you're sharing this webisode because you want me, not just Rich Mbariket per se, because you want an audience to see the material that you're presenting to them, and you leave, and I'll leave a comment, and you don't even hear from them. Like, they didn't even bother to even respond to the comment, and I'm giving them an opportunity by me watching a webisode and having the time to even respond to it. I'm giving you an opportunity to make me your fan, okay? And some producers don't even bother to even respond to comments that are left on their videos, and these are the same producers that are going to go on Twitter and start launching Indiegogo Kickstarter campaign looking for money. Now, I just want to know from I want to get your point of view in just name some steps of engagement. First of all, when people throw out that word engagement, it's kind of...
Well, and it's not just engagement, it's about sustaining interaction. It's about, if you throw your video up on YouTube and someone makes a comment on it, going back and thanking them for watching. If they say they liked a particular scene, you need to continue. There's a difference between online shows and network shows. Network shows are never going to give you the opportunity to have an open conversation on a day-to-day basis with the creative team behind the show. You can give the audience that online. You can give them an opportunity to have an open-ended conversation, but you have to be willing to be a part of that conversation, and you have to be willing to work and the time that it takes to do it. And if you can't as a producer, then you need to hire somebody who can.